Well, hi. Here's our introduction for History 247, 20th Century World History. Welcome. As we start the 20th century, it's fair to say that we had great hopes. It's fair to say that the people around the world thought that, we were leaving that barbaric 19th century with all the wars, the European intrigue and conflict, and that we were finally moving into a world that was going to have figured out warfare, that would be, maybe for the first time, a peace. In The Hague in 1901, the world created the World Court, a place for countries to come and have an arbitrator hear their complaints one against another rather than resorting to going to war. This is truly a hopeful time. In understanding the turn of the century, I guess we really kind of have to go back. So we're going to start the 20th century in the late 18th century, when a new phenomena happens in the world, and it's called the Industrial Revolution. We really don't have a definite beginning date for the Industrial Revolution. We do know it probably began in England when we began to figure out how to use machinery instead of animal or manpower in order to accomplish things. By the end of the 1700s, the 18th century, we began to figure out engines, steam engines in particular, that we would use not just for factories and to manufacture, but also to propel human beings. It is the steam engine that helps us to create the biggest people mover of the 19th century, the train. Let me put this in perspective for you. In 1800, 220 years ago, in the United States, Thomas Jefferson was elected the third president of the United States. Now go back 1,000 years, 1800 BC, and the great lawgiver Hammurabi ruled in Babylon. The interesting thing is that Hammurabi and Thomas Jefferson traveled in the same way. They either walked wherever they were going, they used an animal to ride or to be pulled by, or they got in a boat, and dependent on whichever way the water was going or the wind was blowing, that we were able to move about. Nothing changed in 1,000 years. And really, frankly, we could go back another and say 3,000 BC was the first time that we had invented the wheel. So since 3000 BC to 1800 AD, in other words, nearly 5,000 years of human history, there had been no change in terms of transportation. In the last 200 years, we have gone to the moon and back. Crazy, huh? Well, that's just one area that the Industrial Revolution will make the world much smaller. But we also start shifting from agriculture to manufacture. We see the shift in population from most people in the world living on farms in rural areas to now this kind of new phenomena called cities. And we see it begin in Europe, and particularly in a place called England. And there's some reasons why England was more amenable to this new revolution. The islands are connected by water. a lot of rivers, waterways inside of England itself, which allowed for material to be shipped or supplies to be shipped or actually the finished products. You also had capital, money, that was infused into research and development, factories being able to be constructed, uh, machinery being able to be experimented with. All of these things give England a bit of a head start in terms of the Industrial Revolution. And really, through much of the first half of the 19th century, the 1800s, an awful lot of the European countries, uh, the Federation of German States, Austria, France, are really going to try hard to catch up with England in terms of industrial output, in terms of railroad tracks, and so many other things. And you'll see the same thing in this brand new country called the United States of America. And we too are going through copying England and going through an industrial revolution. One of the things that really enables us is a thing that a northerner, Eli Whitney, uh, came up with called the cotton gin. And what that did was, through using teeth and a wheel, being able to pull the cotton through and pulling out the seeds out of the cotton so that there would be enough cotton or pure cotton to be able to create clothing and whatnot. Prior to the cotton gin, it would take one slave about 10 hours to create 1 pound of lint. Well, the cotton gin revolutionizes, and not only revolutionizes cotton, but frankly, it keeps slavery alive in the South. Many Southerners had some doubt about slavery as we get into the 19th century, but the cotton gin and the vast amount of money that could be made removed whatever doubt there was over the institution of slavery. In fact, by 1860, the last year of peace in the United States prior to the Civil War, you will find that 75 to 80% of the world's cotton supply came from the South. Well, the Industrial Revolution is going to do an awful lot. And the first Industrial Revolution does an awful lot in terms of machinery and in terms of transportation. The one that will really catch our eye, that we really need to pay much more attention to, and we will when I see you again, is the second Industrial Revolution. The Industrial Revolution, the second one that starts around the time of the Civil War in America, will start to harness resources such as oil. It will harness electricity. We'll see the invention of the electric light. Oh, what a big deal that is. That will actually turn night into day. Factories don't need to close anymore. People don't need to go home anymore. People don't need to go to bed at night anymore, because what is night but a continuation of day now because of the electric light? Chemicals will be introduced in vast numbers. We'll also find this other new phenomena. Because we can manufacture more, we've got to be able to sell more. So we cook up this new idea of making selling easier. So we start to create things such as catalogs, so that all of the goods that a merchant might have could be arranged not in a storefront, but on the pages of a catalog that could be distributed, and things could be ordered and shipped from that catalog. You'll also see a new thing called a shopping mall or shopping center, where all of the goods are gathered in one location to make things a little easier to buy. So you don't have to go from one store to the next. They're all centrally located in one shopping district. Well, we're probably getting a little ahead of ourselves at this point. This is probably as good a place to stop as any. So look, have a great day. We'll talk some more about the second Industrial Revolution, maybe a little more specifically when I talk to you again this week. Have a great day. Bye.